What's up, guys? How's it going? Hope you had a very good day today. I know I did. Today, I'm going to get started with a pretty crazy, creepy story here. I also want to share some good news with you, and of course, my personal ghost experience. But I wanted to get started with some information that I had just received today about David Paulides' Missing 411 movie. Apparently, he has posted a link to his Can-Am Missing website because he is doing pre-orders for the movie on the website. So if you go to his Facebook page, you'll see a link on there that'll take you right to the website, or you could just go to canammissing.com and you can just go from there. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the very first page, I would imagine. But yeah, today's story is going to be about this young man here. His name is Ryan Singleton, but I'm going to get to him in just a minute. I wanted to talk about one of my ghostly experiences. And my ghostly experience starts off with a hold on a second. Oh boy, might have to do this because I'm looking kind of orange here. There we go. All right. First, I wanted to start off with my ghostly experience. This happened to me probably last year or the beginning of this year. I was sitting on my sectional watching TV, and all of a sudden I just happened to see an orb fly right in front of me. But the way it flew in front of me, it was almost like I could actually see it as it's flying right through my body, because orbs are tangible, which means it's able to pass through solid mass or objects. So as it's flying in front of me, it's almost as if it flew right through my forehead and right in front of my eyes and went this way and disappeared, as it flew away from me. And it was probably about like that big around, and I literally saw this thing just fly right in front of me, but like as if it flew through me, and I was looking right at it as it's going like this, and then it just kind of went off and just vanished. Now, I've had some other orb-like experiences in my old apartment. I had a 2-bedroom in Duluth, Georgia. I actually was sitting on my sectional again, and I was watching TV, and all of a sudden I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I look up and I see these tiny little orbs, probably about the size of a small marble, and it's like moving through the air real slow, and then it would disappear, and then it would come back, it would reappear, and just start moving real slow in these really like slow patterns, like in circles or loops and stuff like that, and it would kind of curl up, it would disappear, and then it would reappear again. So it was pretty crazy, and that was actually the first time I ever witnessed an orb, right in front of my face. I think I might have seen some in the past, but it was mainly on photos. I actually have a photo of my dad's funeral, and there is an orb right at the tip of my nose, and then there's another orb, I believe, right in front of my brother. We were standing next to each other taking a photo, and you can see an orb right at the tip of my nose. Some people may say it's probably a smudge, or it's probably some sort of camera freak out or whatever, where it caused something to happen, on your face. But trust me, I know an orb when I see one, and I know camera trickery or a little problem with the, like these little anomalies that happen with the cameras, where you see these things happen when lighting gets into the chamber or whatever, causing all these crazy things to happen to the picture. But it was definitely an orb right in front of my nose, and I believe that orb might have been my father. He wanted to take a picture with us, so he was there, taking a picture with us, but in orb form. But yeah, so that was my experience. But to get on with the story about Ryan Singleton, it was a pretty creepy story. This is one of those organ trafficking or organ harvesting stories. He was a young African American man from right here in the good old A. He left Georgia to go on a little mini vacation in July of 2013 to Los Angeles. And when he got there, he rented a car so he can go to Las Vegas. But things kind of went awry after the trip back, because I guess he went to Las Vegas to go do some gambling, probably met up with a friend. But in the midst of him going back to Los Angeles, his car broke down, and he was actually traveling through the Mojave Desert, which is a very desolate place. It's hard. If there's life out there, it's not life that could actually survive, especially a human. They'll probably die of dehydration. And I'm gonna tell you right now, dehydration is a pretty serious deal, especially when you in a lot of sun or a lot of heat, because over time, if you stay out too long, the moisture in your blood will dry up and it becomes really grainy, and then that right there will probably kill you at that point, because all the moisture in your body it actually dried out. So for someone to be in the desert, that's not a pretty good thing for you to. That's not a pretty good place for you to be at a time like that. Even I don't think it really matters of what year it is, or what season it is, because it may be hot all the time in the desert. I'm not sure, but anyway, so he stops. He ends up at a service station where he called a friend who actually lived I think they said he lived about like 3 hours away, so he couldn't get there in time. But when he got there to look for him, he was nowhere to be found. Now, there was a story that says that if his car that he rented stalled on him in the desert, somehow he must have got a hold of a cop. They came to get him, and they drove him back to, like a little town called darn it. There's a small town. It's a southeastern town in California. Give me 1 second here. I thought I was gonna remember, but not so much. Oh yeah, it's a little small town called Baker, which was south. It was a small southeastern town in California. But yeah, he ended up at a rest stop, and he called a friend who couldn't get there in time because he was like 3 hours away. So in the midst of all that, by the time he got to the area where he was supposed to be at this rest stop, he was nowhere to be found. Now, 2.5 months later, some joggers found his body inside of the car that he rented, but it was in the trunk. When they found the body was completely gutted of its organs. It wasn't just the organs. It was, his organs. It was his heart and his eyeballs were completely removed. So he just had these two round sockets in his eyes, But all that stuff was removed, and the mother, whose name is Iris, I'm just forgetting all these names. Iris Flowers. I'm sorry, Iris Flowers. She said that the law enforcement is not giving her the information that she really needs to get. They're being kind of hush about the information. Now, I know that when it comes to information like that, and there's an ongoing investigation, especially when there's some type of organ trafficking going on, they're not going to tell you everything because it's still under investigation, and law enforcement, FBI, anybody, they're not going to give you any kind of information if there is an ongoing investigation, because it may interfere with it. So that could be a reason why she's not getting the information that she feels she needs. But also his spouse, which, by the way, he was a openly gay man. They say he had a very gentle heart. He was kind to everybody, and he was married to a man. He was saying that he couldn't understand how something like this could happen, because it could have been some sort of random abduction and murder, or it could be because of him being a gay person. And he could have been his death could have been a result of a hate crime. That's his interpretation. Now, that could be a reason why, but then again, nobody really knows, because he took all the answers with him, as to what could have happened, and nobody knows how it happened. Just like with all this other trafficking, organ trafficking, like can't remember his name right now. The other young man I told you about that actually died here in Georgia, who was found inside a rolled up mat that was sitting behind the bleachers. Same with him. Nobody knows how someone could have gotten his organs because he went from point A to point B. That's from the gymnasium of his school in Valdosta to the coroner's office. The coroners do not remove organs like that because that is a precisioned operation or a precisioned job to do. You got to use cutthroat technology, or you just got to have a steady hand in order to cut those organs out without causing a mess. Because if you mess something up, nobody's going to be able to use those organs or buy them for that matter. So whoever does this obviously has a hand in operations and organ removal. They obviously have some sort of background in that. It could have been some prestigious doctor that worked for a major hospital in California or wherever these happenings are actually happening, So my guess is it's got to be somebody who knows their way around a knife, okay, and knows their way around a human body. The only problem is these human bodies are young black men. I haven't heard of a story about young black women whose organs are being removed. It's just mainly young black men. And if you've seen Get Out, it kind of reminds you of that scenario of them wanting to use black, men for their pleasure, or whatever it is they're into. In the movie, you saw these black people that lived on this property where they were serving these, Caucasian people, and they were servants. They were people that worked in the yard, and they looked like they were under some type of control, like hypnotism or whatever the case may be. Maybe they were drugged. So if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But in cases like this, when a body is being taken and the organs are being removed for whatever reason, and after that the bodies are being stuffed with newspaper, just like I can't remember that young man's name. Kendrick Johnson. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kendrick Johnson. Just like with him, when they got a hold of his body between the transportation from the school to the coroner's office. Okay, so I want to say from the coroner's office to the grave, basically. So either they did some grave robbery and dug up the body, took out the organs, and then put the body back in the grave, or somewhere between point A and point B, which would be the coroner's office to the grave, they somehow removed the organs. Okay, because like I said, the coroner's office does not remove any organs whatsoever. That's what the hospitals are for. Because if you're an organ donor, then they're going to do that. They're going to remove your organs, and they're going to hopefully use them to save someone else's life. I myself never have been an organ donor, and I never will, because if you're an organ donor, they leave you vulnerable for an attack that you can't get out of or control. Now, if you're an organ donor and you know that means that they can take you at any time. I would think that they would wait until you die, remove the organs, then use them for whatever the reason. Now, I know of someone who passed away. She was an elderly woman. She donated her body to science, or to a university where they can study the body. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. But in this case, they weren't so lucky because they were taken, under their will. So with Ryan Singleton, that is still up in the air. This happened in 2013, so it's probably still an ongoing investigation. I mean, the information is still on the web about his case, and they're not, like I said, they're not giving out any kind of information because this is an ongoing situation. It's not just with Ryan Singleton. It's with Kendrick Johnson and a couple other young men that I've heard of, but didn't get the story about it. I have to look into that a little more about what's happening. But it's a complete mystery as to how he got out there, first of all. Well, I mean, they know that the car obviously broke down, but what happened to him between him going back to Los Angeles and the desert. Somehow, some way, somebody must have confronted him. They probably took him by force, killed him, removed his organs, and they gutted him. like, well, removing his organs, gutting him, same thing. But anyway, it hasn't been said as to the condition of the body as far as how he died, because they didn't give a cause of death in the matter, just like with all the other cases in David Paulides' books. No cause of death. And with him, same thing, no cause of death. The only thing was they removed his organs. Now, these are gruesome details, and they gave this information to the mother about the fact that there was no organs found in her son's body. But at the same time, how did they subdue him? How did they kill him? How did they... Well, that's the main question. How did they kill him? Because first of all, they didn't say anything about any type of bullet wounds on the body, or knife cuts, or stab wounds. No strangulation marks on the neck. No, what did he call it, ligature? None of that. They didn't say anything. They just said that he was gutted, from the inside. And the experts tried to say, oh, it was probably some type of animal that attacked him and they gutted him. Okay, first of all, in the part of the desert where he was at, the only thing that would have done something like that would be vultures, and I've heard that they eat everything, including the bone. But at the same time, in the short period of time that he was actually missing, there's no way that could even happen, because they would have dragged the body away. How is an animal going to put the body in the back of a trunk of the car that he rented out? Animal's not going to do this. I don't even know why they even said that in the first place. Now, I don't know if they actually knew it. They might not have known that he was actually in the trunk. So obviously somebody, not some animal, placed him there. Okay, now I'm not going to say that I want to get into the mysteriousness of his disappearance and his death, because there's all kinds of other scenarios that surround what happened to him, like cattle mutilation. They are found bloodless with no eyeballs. Parts of their mouth is being removed where you see nothing but the jaw. The inside of the mouth where you see the teeth in the jaw and everything. Some organs are being removed, but the main thing that's always gone is the blood. They take the blood for some reason. Now, are they doing some sort of like mutant, like animal, like tests? I don't know. Where they're combining their DNA with humans? I have no idea, which would explain werewolves that walk on their hind legs running around trying to catch food, which are live animals. I've also talked about that in the past too. But you got, like I said, you got cattle mutilation. And then you have situations dealing with UFOs. That could be it, maybe. Maybe they abducted him. They needed his organs for a certain type of human or being they wanted to create, and they tossed him in the trunk and left him there to die. Or it could be some type of organ trafficking, because that is very real. That is going on. We just don't know where. I've heard of them passing out flyers for a job that they would want to give to these young men and women, and then they're lured to these places and they're never seen again. Okay, but in his case, it's anybody's guess, because there's no evidence to state who did it. And with a lot of these organ harvesting, there's never any evidence that will lead back to whoever's doing this. Never. Just like in his books, there's never any evidence to state that, okay, this person did that, or that person, or this doctor did that. None of that. It's just the fact that their organs were being removed and their bodies are being stuffed with newspaper, which I think is really morbid, because why would you even do that? I mean, why would you even take the organs in the first place? And these are random acts. It's not like they're choosing a certain person. Excuse me. They are actually just taking people randomly, killing them in some kind of way, taking their organs and leaving them marked for dead. But there's never any evidence of how they were killed. So it's just weird. I just don't understand why this is happening. But like I said, I wish I could figure it out, because it really breaks my heart that people are that devious to take someone, kill them, take their organs and sell them to the highest bidder on the market of them selling organs, and that's it. And then they don't leave any evidence behind to state who did it, like some sort of killer that actually wants to be caught. They leave trails, you know, trails of clues where you can follow them so he can actually get caught, which is probably what he wants to happen. I don't know, but stuff like that is just weird. I mean, I hope one day that we'll figure it out, just like I will. Hopefully, one day we'll figure out what's going on in our national parks, national forests, and urban areas. So, like I said in my past videos, and I say it again: if you have an open mind, you can come here to my channel, because I welcome people with an open mind. And like I said in my last video, if you can read the stories in David Paulides' books, and deduce what could have happened to that person, especially when you read the evidence of what was found near the body or how the body was found, and you try to figure out how is it that the body is dry, the socks are clean, but you're still dead in a muddy area. How did you die in the first place? What could have killed you? There's no cause of death on the body, so what could it have been? It's almost as if, and that's when you start thinking, when you say it's almost like somebody stole its soul, because it's just a lifeless body with no cause of death, no stab wounds, no bullet holes, no ligature on the body, no strangulation marks around the neck, none of that. There's no blood in this. There's no drugs in the system, no chemicals, no nothing. GHB, yes, but still, how is it getting into the body? That's the $1,000,000 question right there. How does GHB get into the body of a person who didn't even take it in the first place? There's no evidence of him even taking it. They weren't taking drugs. They weren't drinking the night before. Yeah, they were coming from a party, which it seems to happen a lot with these young college men. They leave a party, they separate from the group that they came there with for some odd reason, and this happens every single time. And see, the way this is what I'm thinking. There are a lot of people that go out to have fun with their friends. There's a lot of college kids that go out to have fun with their friends. So that's a common thing to happen when you're going out with your friends. You go out with a group. Y'all probably walking from the dorm, or y'all go in a car, and you go in and you have your fun. You drink, you laugh, you do all kinds of, you dance, you just have fun. You probably playing pool, maybe, I don't know. But when you leave the place, you always, for some reason, want to veer off away from the group that you came with. You say, "Well, I'm just gonna walk home." Why is it that every single college person that turns up missing or dead does that? It's a common, theme. And I'm thinking that they know this, which is the reason why they can actually say, okay, well, you know what? They always leaving parties, and they always seem to want to walk off by themselves and go home. So that would be the perfect cover. We grab someone who is always leaving the group to where we can get them alone and take them and bring them to the river, kill them in our own special way, and dump them in the river. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure this is what they're thinking. These are beings that can think in a way that they get around our way of thinking. They get around how we may deduce exactly what is going on with these people. They know how to get around all that. They know how we think, and that's terrifying to me. They know how we think, so they know how to get around what they feel we could probably think of to figure this out. But the ones who think in a way that goes beyond logical thinking, those are the ones they need to watch out for. But yet at the same time, I don't think that really helps, because they're still not going to figure it out. If we do figure it out, which I'm pretty sure we all have, nobody's going to ever believe us. You want to know why? Because you have so many skeptics out there. We weren't taught these things when we were kids. We may have heard stories, like my number one fan, Kim Star 66. She's heard so many creepy, crazy stories that she either heard from her parents or she's experienced herself, like bunyips, or this being that took that actually posed as her young sister, wearing a pink raincoat, running through the bush near her home. Okay, what kind of person can do that? Can shapeshift into your sister or whoever else that you actually know and lure you into the woods? I'm just saying. The unknown is alive and well, people. It is out there. The bad part about all this is you have to have faith enough to believe it. I always say seeing is believing, but also believing is seeing. Seeing is believing, and then you have to believe something in order to see it. It's all about here. You gotta have faith, and you gotta have the eyes and the mind to see it. Okay? I am very much into the unknown and the paranormal. So there's a lot of things I've experienced. There's a lot of things I've seen. I know there's a such thing as angels. I know there's a such thing as that tunnel that you travel through when you have an out-of-body experience. I know there's a such thing as ghosts. Okay, I hear them all the time. I see them all the time. Even when I don't want to. I hear a little girl saying hi outside my door when I'm doing something. I forgot what I was doing, but it's plain as day. It was like she was right in front of me, and she was like, "Hi," and I was like, "Huh?" And I'm looking around. I'm thinking it was one of the little kids in my subdivision, and there was nobody outside. And whoever was outside, it was across the street, but this was like right in front of me. So, for those of you who do not believe in the unknown, the mysterious, and the creepy, and all this other stuff like, Dogman or the Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, Bigfoot, which is the #1 feature in a lot of these YouTube videos, Bigfoot. Everybody knows about Bigfoot. Everybody, there's 50% of the people probably think that there's no such thing as Bigfoot, and the other 50 thinks that there is a Bigfoot. I, for one, think that there is. I've never seen one, but I know that it's real. I don't have to have proof to know that it's real. I just know. It's just something that you just feel, and people don't try to rely on that. They don't try to rely on what you feel or what you just know. It is what it is, I look at it like this here. These stories had to come from some truth from way back in the past. Now this, I was looking at, it was the security team. They was talking about evidence of people who lived here on Earth way before we even got here. The type of human race that was here way before we were. I gotta look at that video and try to see what he may have gotten from that. Because Tyler, he has some of the craziest, but yet best videos I've ever seen. So I would advise a lot of you to check his page out because it's pretty cool. He's very informative. He has detailed information. He's got a lot of people backing him up. And his entry video is so cool. I love it. With the music and the little flicker of the screen and the little secure team logo. That's fact. I love it. I only wish that one day that I can get that far where I can have a nice, cool looking, like video, like entry video or something like that. But anyway, the whole thing is, there's so much going on out there, guys. So much, and we know nothing about it. The keepers of the information are the government and the national parks. They know what's going on out there. They know that there is something out there that is taking these people. Could it be nature spirits that don't like how we treat the forest or nature itself? Could it be a race of beings that don't need a physical form to manifest themselves or show themselves? Could it be, I had a theory a while ago about Einstein's theory about how if we were to use all of our brain's capacity, we wouldn't even need our bodies. So let's take it a little further. Let's say that happens, but the person who would be basically just a floating brain, what if they elevated to a level that was so high that they didn't even need the physical manifestation of their own brain to show themselves? They could just rely on the energy that the brain itself gives off, or what the brain can do. Whatever the brain can do actually created a how would I put this? It actually created some type of life form that can operate on brain function but without the brain, which really doesn't make any sense logically, but illogically it makes perfect sense. Think about it. I was talking about some creature that can use tentacles that it shoots out of his mouth to absorb a person's soul right out of their body. And then once the soul is gone, your body is just like a lifeless corpse, and it just hits the ground, which is exactly what happens. Which is exactly what happens to these people who are being found. These young college men, they're being found in these rivers, and sometimes on the side of the river, like on the shoreline. Okay, anywhere near a body of water. So what if it is some type of creature that can somehow suck your soul right out of your body and feed off of it? Or could it be this soul extraction that they call soul science? This is something coming from a young, well, not young, but a middle-aged captain called. His name is Captain Randy Kramer. I've heard of him on Coast to Coast AM. I've seen him on other interviews, and he talks about soul science all the time, where they're somehow able to. Well, it's some type of it's a type of technology given to the government by the Greys, the aliens, where you can actually extract the soul, a person's soul, out of their body, and it gets put into like this bin, and your soul is like it's like some type of quantum fluid. It's very sparkly and gel-like, I guess. I'm not sure what kind of like webby, like like strands of like energetic webs, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen it before, but that's what he said. He said it's like a quantum fluid. I don't even know what quantum fluid looks like. I'd have to look it up just to see if maybe there's a representation of what it may look like. I don't know, but that's what the man said. And he said that he has been cloned at least over like maybe 24 times. Cloned. They take his soul out of that body and place it in another where he can live. So the body that he has now might not even be what he actually looks like, because he was taken into the Marine Corps at a very young age. But he was assigned to a type of organization where he could do all kinds of things, like travel to Mars, live there, or travel to different asteroids and land over to different planets, travel the solar system in those TR-3Bs, where he even said that there's some sort of outpost that is floating within the rings of Jupiter. Now, I think they say that Jupiter does have rings, but anyway, it's actually within the orbit of Jupiter, and it's some sort of like outpost with a dome on top. But it's just something that we don't see, because the only thing we see are the satellites, which are the moons that orbit around that planet. So we probably never see it anyway. But he said there is one, and he said there are bases on the backside of the moon, and there are civilizations on Mars. It's like a reptilian civilization. I don't know. I mean, that's what the man said. So most people would say that he's not real, or he's a crackpot. Elizabeth Morgan even said the same thing. I think she said that she looked up his credentials, and I think she said he wasn't telling the complete truth. And he said on Coast to Coast, he doesn't really care what other people think about what they feel he isn't all about. A person called into the show and said, "Well, if you are who you say you are, how come we can't find you or find the general who's in charge of you on the internet?" I said, first of all, they're not going to put the information on the internet. That's breaching government security, and government privacy. And you know how big they are on that. They don't want nobody to know anything, so they keep that hush hush. They even tried to buy the internet once, just so we wouldn't keep dipping and dabbing into stuff that we ain't supposed to be. That they don't want us to find out about. Because I did the same thing. I myself was starting to get into the Black Knight satellite when I first heard about it on Coast to Coast AM. Well, no, not on Coast. I think I stumbled onto it on the internet, and it was the coolest looking thing I ever saw. I even saw a video that said that they actually blew it up and it was falling towards Earth. How true that is, I don't know. They just said they caught a video and they said it was a Black Knight satellite and it was falling towards Earth, kind of like the space shuttle Discovery, how it was burnt up and shot down into the Earth, in a million pieces and all that stuff. But anyway, okay, so like I said, with that, I'm not sure if what he says is what he's saying. But I do know, like I said, when I was looking at the Black Knight satellite, and these people literally are they're devious, because I drove to the store, and all of a sudden I see these two unmarked black helicopters flying directly towards me, not around. And it was just so weird how it's almost like they knew exactly where I was, because I've seen tons of helicopters other than military helicopters where they're flying around the area, or they're flying over the area, or they're just passing through and they just keep going. These guys flew directly over my head, literally. They didn't stop. They just wanted me to know that they were there. And they knew that I was going to know that they were there, because I know what an unmarked black helicopter looks like, especially a special ops black helicopter. Okay? Twice this happened. The second time was when I was actually on the internet looking up information about the Black Knight satellite. Then all of a sudden I hear this loud thumping noise. And it was one of those unmarked black helicopters, again, flying directly over my apartment, not over another portion of my apartment or from that direction. It flew directly over my apartment, literally over my head. So I went out to the patio, and I looked up, and there it was, flying off into the distance, going this way. Okay, now I've seen helicopters stop in midair. I would think they would have done that just to make it look like that, just to let me know that they are watching me, and they know where I live, But it's only happened twice, and this was like maybe 5 years ago. About like 5 years ago. It hasn't happened since, and I haven't really seen any unmarked black helicopters in a while either. So that's a good thing. That means that they are off my trail, because I was getting kind of deep into it, And I don't get into the whole dark web thing. I would love to see what's on there. But because there's certain software that you can order in order to do that, where you can be a part of the dark web, and you can search all kinds of stuff. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got, for right now. Of course, I'm going to be posting another video soon. If I feel up to it, I'll post another one tonight, before I fall asleep. But if not, I'll probably do one tomorrow, because I am off tomorrow, and my union steward didn't call me to ask me if I wanted to work tomorrow. So obviously I got 2 days off. So if I feel up to it, if I'm not too busy, I'll make another one for tomorrow. I'll probably do one later on tonight, and I'll probably still post it for the next day, because by the time I make another, it'll probably be way past, it'll probably be the next day anyway. So to recap again about the David Paulides' movie, go to his Facebook page, and he should have a link on the very top portion of his page that will lead you straight to his website, canammissing.com, and you can pre-order the movie on his website. Okay, I haven't looked it up. I haven't looked at it yet, or I looked at the website yet. So, because I'm pretty sure the video might be a little bit more than the books, because the books are like $24.95. So the movie may be the same price, or maybe a little cheaper. I'm not sure, but the movie is out for you to pre-order before everybody else gets it. And so, like I said, just go to his Facebook page. If you want the movie, get it, because I'm definitely gonna get it myself. So I can't wait to see it, because I'm just so anxious to see how he did it. I mean, looking at the previews don't do it any justice. I gotta watch the whole thing, because that's really gonna open up people's eyes, and that's what I'm here for as well. I know he started this, but I want to help him get the word out there, and that's why I'm telling you guys about the movie. It's out, it's there, it's on pre-order. So get to his website and order it. And if it's sold out and y'all make me miss my chance to get it, I'm coming after you. No, I'm just playing. No, but seriously though, I hope everybody gets a chance to see it, and I hope that it really does open up your eyes and let you know what's really going on out there, and stop saying that somebody kidnapped or abducted your child or your family member or whoever else. It's not nobody human from this world. It may be somebody human from another reality, or another parallel Earth maybe, or just some sort of being that can warp reality to its own faction, or warp reality to his own, to the best of his own abilities, so it'll work for him. I don't know, just one of my other theories, but it's nobody human. And if it is, it's some next level serial killer that can use its own abilities to kill people without having to touch them. That is one of the main creepy parts of this entire situation with people disappearing. How are these people killing people without touching them? Without laying one hand on them or any kind of weapon? And I told you I showed you saw it on my last video about these guys who were supposed time travelers, and they had these leg glasses that they made at home. They said something about taking a pill, and then when they found them, their bodies were rotted out on the inside, but the outside of their body was like it was never touched. Okay, the drug was undetectable in the system. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just saying, could be that, might not be. I'm not sure. That's what really boggles me, because we don't know. We can sit here and come up with so many theories on a daily basis, but if we don't have the proof, I mean, I don't know what else to say, because the proof is right there in the books. It's telling you what happened. And here's the best part about it. He leaves it up to us to think about what could have killed that person. And if we can think of the craziest thing, and the way the evidence is out, the way the evidence is laid out, it makes you think of some of the craziest shit. Like, you got a dead body on the ground with socks on and boxers and nothing else, stripped of his clothes, but it just had the socks and the boxers on. Why would you do that? First of all. Number two, why are the socks clean, but you're laying dead in mud? Okay? Once again, it makes no sense. How are you dead, but there's no cause of death? There's no bullet holes, no stab wounds, no strangulation marks, no drugs in the system except for GHB, which doesn't indicate how it got in the system in the first place. What could have happened? What killed these people? Was it a spirit drinking demon or spirit drinking creature that is made of pure energy? Is it some sort of being that can levitate someone off the ground, carry it somewhere and keep it there for a couple of days, and then just drop it right there in an area hundreds of miles away from they were last seen? Okay, that's what the books make you do. It makes you come up with all these crazy theories that make no sense whatsoever. That's what I'm here for. I've had a lot of theories that I've talked about on my channel, a lot, and I hope that everybody gets a good listen to what I'm saying, because I'm not going to say that it was a human. I'm not going to say that he was abducted by somebody or she was abducted by somebody. I'm going to say it is something that is some type of overreaching intelligence that even if they were to tell us who they are, we still wouldn't understand who they are, because they are on a level that we're not on. We're never going to be able to grasp what they are, what they're all about, and why they're doing this in the first place. That's another thing that's creepy. Why are they doing it? Why do you have to feed off of the human soul or the human spirit or our energy? Do you need that to survive? Is that your food? That's how you eat? You eat spirit energy or soul energy or energy alone? The energy of a person? Because they see in certain cultures they call that chi, chakra, or mana in Hawaiian. They obviously feed off of this energy. That's how they eat. They don't eat food, regular food like us. They don't eat chicken and fish and broccoli, vegetables, all kinds of stuff. They don't eat that stuff. They eat energy. And obviously they eat people too. Look at the people that are found when they find the remains of a person. All they find is a tiny little bone. Well, they either find bone fragments all over the place, or they find a skull that is wiped completely clean. I mean, the top of the cranium. So that would make me think, if you only find the top of the cranium, where's the rest of the body at? Obviously, whatever type of creature was able to leave behind the top portion of someone's skull, I would think they picked that person up, placed the entire body in their mouth. They probably stretched out their throat so that they can fit the entire body in their mouth. Clothes, well, not the clothes. They probably spit the clothes out, or they took the clothes off but anyway, they place the body in their mouth and they bite down. Their teeth are so sharp, they bite down on the portion of its forehead, like right here, and they bite all the way down to there's nothing left but the top of the person's cranium. They eat everything else but that part and leave it on the ground, leave it there for you to find. Like 4 or 5 years later, they find a tooth and in clothes that are turned inside out. That's another part. Why were the sweatpants of Jerry Atadero turned inside out? That would mean somebody was trying to pull his pants off. Why? I don't know. I would hate to think that it was some sort of sexual predator. Or maybe it's because they wanted to eat the child, but they couldn't eat the child if he had his clothes on, so they removed the clothes along with the shoes and the socks. And then they picked the boy up, placed it in his mouth, and bit down on the forehead, leaving behind nothing but the top of his cranium. Because that's all Alan Atadero found. They only found his skull, a tooth, his shoes that were pristine, by the way. Pristine. It looked like they just came off the showroom floor. 4 or 5 years later, in the elements. Sneakers don't do that. They deteriorate over time. The leather starts to break away and dry up because of the moisture that's inside the leather itself. It dries up and it starts to break away, and you see the inside of the shoe, like the fabric or the insulation or whatever that's inside, that's behind the leather. It does that. But still, you obviously needed to eat something without the clothes on. So you removed the clothes from the body and swallowed the person whole. Because they didn't leave behind nothing but a tooth in the top of a cranium. So that means everything else they ate. They even drank the blood. They feed off of human flesh from the inside out or from the outside in, which is terribly terrifying altogether. I'm be like, what the hell is going on? What kind of creature eats a person's body whole or eats a person alive like that? It wasn't no mountain lion. Mountain lions don't do that. If you don't know, you need to be quiet. If you don't know what they do, if you're not an expert in the animal kingdom, you don't need to be saying nothing because you're wrong. The question is, what did it? What kind of creature is able to do something like that? It's not a creature of this planet or this earth, this parallel, or this plane. Might be somebody from another level, another level of reality. Could be a creature from another parallel earth that is able to slip in and out of our world through a portal willingly. Could it be the chupacabra? No, because they actually eat, they drink the blood in the body. They do whatever. That's what they were doing to the cattle, And they said there was like a little pinprick on the neck, and then when they found it, there's no blood. Parts of the body is cut off, like the skin on the face, and you can see the teeth, and like all you see is this, weird. So tell me, people, what do you think it is? Is it something that is that is beyond our that's beyond our way of thinking? Okay, is it beyond our reality? It's gotta be. Do you know of an animal that can do something like that? I don't. But I do know it's not an animal of this planet. I know that. Could be a werewolf, maybe. But it would have to be something that could swallow the body whole. It would have to be, because it doesn't leave behind any evidence. No blood, no tissue, no nothing. It bites down on the head or on the forehead, and the only thing that's left behind is the cranium. And that's licked clean too. I mean, what else could it be? It can't be a human. A human ain't gonna do that. A human is not gonna devour the human body. I know somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer was eating people, but the man had to put the body parts in the freezer, and when he wanted to eat it, he would take a knife, cut it up, and eat it like a steak. I mean, I'm guessing that's what he did. I think he said that's what he did. He ate it like he was eating a meal on a plate or whatever, like eating the muscles, because they said he said himself that the human muscle or human flesh is sweet when it's cooked. It's creepy. But anyway, the whole point is, it's got to be something out there that goes beyond what we know. It's got to be. But if you're sitting up there trying to say that I know that person was kidnapped by someone or abducted by someone, there's no evidence to indicate that it was kidnapped by a person. And then you got the ones that disappear without a trace and are never found. We're talking, you've been searching for someone for 30, 40 years, like Stacey Harris. Stacy Ann Harris. She goes in between a line of trees, and she vanishes. She never comes back, and she hasn't been found. She's never been found. The only thing they did find was the lens cap to her camera. Now, whatever took her obviously didn't want no one to find out, so they took the camera and they made sure that the evidence is never found. They're smart. They're very smart. Because they don't want to be found out. They don't want to be found out. They'll do whatever it takes to keep themselves, to keep who they are a secret. But they'll leave tiny little clues every once in a while. Like, you already know. You know who I'm about to say. Henry McCabe. Perfect example. The man calls his wife. Okay? He leaves a voicemail because obviously she didn't pick up. It was probably late at night. She was probably asleep. But by the time she picked up the phone, the voicemail already came through, and all she heard was him moaning and groaning in pain. And after that, they heard a loud growl, and then you hear a man say, "Stop it." But at the same time, you hear him moaning in pain. You hear him using so much distress. It was almost like this creature had the ability to somehow disrupt the nervous system in his body, to where his entire body was just aching, from head to toe. Every nerve, every cell, every inch of his body was in total pain. Okay? And then, after that, he's found. What happens? No cause of death. No sign of trauma due to what they heard on the phone, on that voicemail. Nothing. They didn't find anything. Okay? They didn't even mention the nature or the condition of the man's body. They didn't say that he was found half naked with just his underwear and socks on, or just pants on with no shirt. They didn't say that. They didn't mention the condition of the body as far as there being a bullet hole in his chest or on his forehead. They didn't say there was a stab wound. They didn't say he was strangled to death. They didn't say he drowned. Well, they did say accidental drowning, which is a common lie given to you by the coroner's office and the law enforcement. Okay? They didn't mention the condition of his socks or his shoes. They didn't say that the shoes were removed and the socks were pristine. They didn't say none of that. You want to know why? Because they heard about past cases that David Paulides talked about, and they didn't want to cause an uproar in the media if this guy turned out to be just like the stories in his books. But it did. It turned out to be just like that because they said there was no cause of death. They said it was an accidental drowning. He was found in a creek bed. Creek beds are not freaking deep for you to drown in. Makes no sense. Well, no, it wasn't a creek bed. It was a river. It was a river. But still, there's no evidence to state that he drowned. They just said that because they didn't want a media uproar. Because if they find out that this person died in a way that was so strange that we can't figure out how, they would look at them like they were a bunch of quacks because they don't know how to do their job. So they say these things to cover themselves, to cover their asses. Okay? And then when a situation like that, when they played the video, played the voicemail, what did they do? They spliced it. Okay? They edited it. They didn't want you to hear a person in the background saying stop it. That would have made it even more weird. All they played was him moaning and groaning in pain and some sort of growl in the background. But they never played the part where an unknown man says stop it. Obviously, whatever this creature was working along with him, and he took him out there to feed off of whatever it is it feeds off of. Because however which way it's doing this, he's doing it without touching the body, without laying one hand on it, without stabbing him or shooting him with some type of weapon. The person that was saying stop it didn't use a bullet to kill him before he was to take his soul and feed off of it. I'm thinking the government or the Park Service made a deal with these beings. They said you can take whoever, just like this treaty that the government signed. You know, sign with the aliens, saying that you can take us, abduct us whenever you want. You just make sure you put them back to where you first got them. But they're not doing that. People are being found miles away, wrapped in a Navajo blanket on the highway sometimes. Sometimes they are put back in their house. You know, but they put back in their house in such a way. Like, there's a video on YouTube right now of a woman was lying in her bed, sleep with her husband. And you see her turn over. And she's sitting there for a couple of minutes. And all of a sudden, the sheets just go flat. Like as if she fell through the mattress and went through the floor. Or hit the floor. Okay? 3 hours go by. Then all of a sudden, the sheets puff up. Like as if she came up through the mattress. Just like how she melted into the mattress. It's almost like they took her out of the house through the mattress and took her up into the ship. And then they put her back the same exact way, but in reverse, to where she came up through the mattress, and you see the sheets puff up, and you see her body form underneath the mattress, and then she turns over and goes right back to sleep. She don't have no memory of what happened. She said, no memory at all, because they wiped her memory clean. And see, that happens with a lot of these cases with these people that are disappearing. They never have a memory of what happened to them. Never, especially the children. They say that they don't remember what happened. They just, like this one kid who is, I think it was what was his name? Keith Parkins, was found 12 miles away, 19 hours later, in a frozen creek bed, clothes ripped to shreds, and had no memory of what he went through. He was either running from something, or they didn't care about his well-being while they were running towards a place, and his body was just being slashed by thorns and branches and stuff like that. Not even caring about the fact that he's running through this field and hitting branches and everything, cutting him up and some everything else. They didn't care about that. They obviously don't care about human life, because they're taking people. You know, they're killing them in a way that we can't understand, or they're just taking them and they never come back. I don't know. Or maybe there's these uncontrollable pockets of portals that open up all over the globe, and people who can't see them walk right into it. And then after that, it closes up and they don't have no way of getting back. Or maybe they die the minute they walk into it, because I would think they're being sucked into it. So therefore, it's like a vacuum. Therefore, whatever air you got left in your body gets sucked out because of the vacuum. And then boom, you're dead. After that, that's it. So you just some floating corpse floating around inside of a portal. I don't know. But guys, that is my time. I done said enough. I hope I wasn't rambling. I hope what I'm saying gives you some insight of what's going on out here. Use that mind of yours to figure out what's going on here. Okay? But do not use logic. Use whatever you can. Think about it. Read the evidence. Read the profiles. Okay? Pay close attention to it. When you eliminate everything that has something to do with a person killing that person, then what else is there? The unknown. A creature that has some unknown powers that we know nothing about, that can do things that we can't do, kill people without even touching them. That means they either use their mind to mess with their nervous system, or they use tentacles they shoot out of their mouth to suck out their soul. I'm just saying. What else could it be? I've said that before. What else can it be? That's my thing. That's my theory. Can't be nothing else but that. But, you know, like I said, I'm just me. Yeah, you know, I created this channel so people who have an open mind can come here and open up and be themselves, where they won't be judged all the time or looked at as a crackpot or a freak because you think like that. Oh, no. It wasn't that. It was somebody. It was a killer. They killed liver. It got to be. You got to be a serial killer. Serial killers don't take the clothes off of people. Furthermore, let's think about this. I told you about the young boy that I heard about that was found. It had no shirt on, no boots, just socks. Okay, so it had the socks and the boxers on. Where were the pants? Because think about it. You have to take your time to do all these things. Everything is timed. Okay, it takes time to do a lot. Like it'll take time for you to untie the shoes, remove them from the feet, and then unbuckle the jeans, remove the jeans, put the shoes back on, tie the shoes, both of them, and then just walk away. What serial killer do you know is gonna take the time to do something like that? That's wasting way too much time. That's why they take them to places like the woods, so nobody hear them scream, or they will be able to get away without them knowing. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. It can't be somebody human, because a serial killer is not gonna waste their time doing something like that unless he's just elaborate and wants people to think that he is crazy, because that stuff don't make no sense. They probably had to look in his brain to see what his logic is. Why would you remove the shoes, untie the shoes, remove them, take the pants off, put the shoes back on, and walk away with the jeans? It's almost like the jeans were phased through the body, like someone grabbed them, made the jeans intangible, removed them from the body, and that was it. I'm just saying. Anyway, guys, like I said before, that's my time. I know I keep coming up with stuff, but this is the end of it. That's my time. Like I said before, I'm going to try and make another video before it gets too late, which will be for tomorrow, since I'm off tomorrow. And I'm not sure what it's going to be about, but I will be doing my homework, so just stay tuned, because I will be posting another one soon. Hopefully it'll be tonight. It'll be for tomorrow, but I'm going to try to post it tonight, and then you'll get a full view of another video about these crazy, insane disappearances that happen in our national parks, national forests, and urban areas. So without further ado, guys, you know how I end it. You know how I do. Aloha, mahalo, and hui ho. Peace out, guys. Have a great night. Be blessed. Be safe, and keep those ears plugged into my notifications so you can see another video coming through. All right. Peace out, guys. Love you.